What is up, you guys? The Fallout with here, and today I'm doing my new my what if. This is going to be what if deku was had solo leveling. Now, still sick, but I decided to keep going at this. And I heard some of you guys on the channel saying, just do it when you're ready. We will wait, but this is better than doing nothing at the house. And also, since I'm going to work tonight, I just wanted to do a video, so that way you guys can actually, enjoy it. Nothing more, nothing less. But without further ado, so you guys are probably wondering why Deku was still injured, why blood was coming out of his arm and his leg, why he had that wound still on his chest. Well, Dark Magician Girl wasn't supposed to be the one to summon him yet. This was kind of like a mishap. She was a little too excited. And because she was a little too excited, Deku, he paid the price. So that is why I've given Deku, I've given him a couple abilities and a weapon. So the sword can turn into, the wooden sword that Deku had, he was given, can turn into a different sword. And this sword is called Copycat Sword. Depending on what character has it, it can copy any other sword, but it's only 1/4 as strong as the monster on the field. So I don't know if that's an actual sword. I just made the effect up. And anyway, but Deku is just going to be, he's going to be like in the hospital. Inko she saw Deku and she cried. Like, she cried her eyes out. Bakugo felt sad because she basically went and got hurt. And, technically, she got Deku hurt by fighting, and instead of actually, trying to fight back again, she was mostly in shock for what happened to Deku. Now, Bakugo knows Deku wouldn't hold it against her. Oh, and if you guys wondering why I keep saying her, is because I forgot to tell you guys that Bakugo's a chick. Is she going to be a part of the love fest? Not so sure. But with Deku just, in the hospital, she's going to be thinking about what she has done. She should have just ran with the rest of them, but no, she decided to fight back. Deku, Deku decided that she wouldn't, Deku decided he wouldn't hold it against her. So, when Deku wakes up, he sees that he has a mouth breather. He also sees that his arm and his leg has been, torn. Pretty much, it's trying to be stitched up, but he sees, the pieces of muscle that are still there, that are hanging out. He doesn't know if he's going to actually, either make it with both of his limbs. Now, Deku tries to talk, but since the mask is, preventing him from, making his words clear, Inko tries to get somebody so that way they could probably, help Deku out with, speaking. Deku talks and tries to speak, but this is when a doctor says, "Don't worry, Mr. Midoriya. We have what's called the best. We have good doctors here to help you out." And this is when the guy basically, has this emitter quirk. It's an emitter quirk that he can grab Izuku or grab a part of his body, and he grabs to somebody else and link these two together, so that way they can talk for at least a good 5 minutes. And the people that are there is Bakugo and Inko. Since Bakugo does stay and is trying to keep Midoriya happy, much to her surprise, Deku tells Inko, well, it's like, what does he say? He's like, well, let me tell you. He talks to his mom, and pretty much everything goes well. And this is when Deku says, I've been to the other side. I've seen monsters. I've seen a woman with blonde hair. This is when Katsuki says, are you talking about me? I'm right here, so you don't have to worry about that. And this is when Deku says, no. I'm talking about, there was a girl, and she helped me. My body was intact at first, but I guess when I woke up, she was gone. And this is when Inko and Bakugo don't understand what to do. They're confused in the whole fact that, Deku just said all these words. So, with that happening, Bakugo says, Deku, I will help you no matter what. I'm sorry for what I've, done to you. I should have, ran back. But it was my arrogance that got in my way. And, sorry for, for everything that happened. Now you're here, and oh man, this is she doesn't know what to say, but Deku says it's alright. But in the very end, all he says is, Bakugo, you're going to be a good hero one day. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be better than you. This is when Inko says, sweetie, you're not going to actually make it. They say if your arm and leg sustain damage, or lift something heavy, or if his body is, put in a position to where it's taxing so much energy out of him, it could actually hurt his body, and he won't be able to control, to actually walk or move anything with either his leg or his arm. So if he does something like a desk job, or if he does interning, or something like that, Deku says that he's going to be a hero. This is when Bakugo says, you can't be a hero. You saved us. That should be enough, right? There's no need for you to put yourself through all that trouble again. This is when Deku says, you're wrong. I can feel it. I know what my true potential can be if I just keep training myself. And this is when Bakugo says, you didn't train yourself for the last couple of years. I saw you, and yeah, sure, you were doing, you were being a supporter, but you weren't doing it to the fact where you were, strong. She's kind of in a daze right now. It's just like, what has she been doing for Deku, and she realizes that she hasn't been thinking about Deku. She's been mostly thinking about herself every time she's trained. She never thought about giving Deku any pointers or, decides, hey, why don't I try to, help you be better at your support role, since we're going to be partners and all. She's always been thinking about herself, and this is when Inko is just crying and crying because she's sad of the fact that she could never give Deku the greatest quirk that she could. This is when Deku says, Mom, it's alright. You made me, and I'm glad. I can always see, though, you grew stronger over the years. The numbers at least say so. You just gotta believe in yourself. And this is when Bakugo realizes that Deku is still talking about the numbers for a very long time. And this is not like any Black Ops 1 Mason stuff right here. This is like, still talking about the numbers on top of their heads. This is when Deku realizes that he could see attributes now. And stars. He sees Bakugo, and Bakugo's a level 4. Deku is a level 3. And he's a dark attribute, while Bakugo is a fire attribute. Kind of comes with the territory, that Bakugo's kind of explosive nature. But this is when Deku says, I'm tired of walking on the sidelines. I'm going to be a hero no matter what. And this is when he says it with a passion. He says it so passionately that Bakugo and Inko, start to tear up once again. This time, Inko's tearing up more, but Bakugo's starting to tear. Or to tear up. Bakugo is saying, look, I'll visit you, and not only that, I'll be the best hero, so that way you don't have to be. And this is when Deku starts saying, I will not accept. And this is when Deku blacks out. This is when his heart monitor starts to, go a little haywire. And this is when a monster appears once again. This time, I made sure to, hold on here. This one. No, not this one. This one. This is when Jinzo pops out. And he summons a freaking Gilasaurus. Now, this isn't Mexican, so I don't know what it means in any other language. But Gilasaurus is, how do I say it? It's a dinosaur. And this is when Bakugo sees, like, what the heck? And Deku is like, how do I say it? He's still blacking out. His heart monitor stopped, and basically Deku, Bakugo, and Inko are now, trapped. Because of the dinosaur roaming around and all that good stuff, Deku is now in the world where he meets Rainbow Karibo. Not Rainbow Karibo. Sheesh. I don't have a freaking Dark Magician Girl on my screen. Hold on here. There we go. Sorry about that, people. Now, sorry. Dark Magician Girl appears once again. And this is when she says, oh, hey again. Look, I understand. Either you're upset, and if you are, I'm sorry, but if you're not, all's forgiven, Deku is looking at her with, like, why are you summoning me again? After what you've done, the fact that, I'm still... What's the word? You know, 2 limbs away from, never being a hero again. This is when she says, I know this is all bad, but I forgot to give you your rank and all that stuff. So, yeah. I'm going to do it now. So, Izuku Midoriya. This is when Deku was looking at her, which is like, we both know that you weren't supposed to be the one that summons me. We both know that now. Like, you do such a bang-up job, and Deku was letting her have it a little bit. It's like, just after all the stuff you pulled off, and the fact that, you brought me to this world, it's like, well, what else did you do that I haven't remembered? And this is what she says, well, I was a kid, and I was, cosplaying and all that stuff. Or, in your world, that people thought I was cosplaying. And this is when, your friend started to bully me. And Deku says, no, you did not. You did not. I got bullied because of the whole fact that I was a child, and it was because you wanted to what did you wanted to do? And this is when she says, well, the computer was trying to find out, like, who was the new hero. It is you. And, well, Deku gets upset and says, you got me beaten up by somebody and possibly ruined my ability to level up a little bit because of the whole fact that I was so sad. Just because you wanted to see me, we could have done this the easy way. But no, you pretty much screwed me over. You pretty much screwed me over. And this is when she feels like even more shame. She starts to try to put down her mask thing or her head thing. She's trying to pull it down even more, although she can't do that because, her hat. And this is when Deku says, is there anything else that you have done? And this is when she says, well, not that I know of. And this is when Deku says, oh boy. Look, I forgive you and everything that you've done, but I got to be, going back because I have a bad feeling about this. Like, you brought me back, so I don't know, I just have this weird feeling. And this is when the machine, or the thing that is talking to Deku now, says, two monsters are now inside the world. Or outside the freaking world, and now they come down to Earth. And they're near Deku's location. And Deku says, wait, what? And the machine also says, now, it's going to basically say that, you're going to have a mission, and you're going to have to defeat the 2 creatures in order to get something powerful, or something good. But we decide to skip some of the formalities, and we will also, help you out. And Deku says, alright, so what do I do? And this is when Dark Magician Girl says, alright, since you don't know about dark attributes, light attributes, any of the attributes, do you still want to change your ability? And Deku says, do I want to change my ability? And Deku just thinks about it and says, no, I'll keep it. And this is when basically Deku decides to keep his ability, and he also, and what's her face? Dark Magician Girl says, do you want to be, which type do you want to be? And Deku says, I'll keep that as well. And this is when Deku says, alright. And she says, now that that's all the case, we also have to make sure to rank you up properly. And this means that you'll have a little bit more power now than you originally did. And this is when Deku feels something. and he sees the numbers on his head, and he sees all the hard work and everything that paid off, and it turns into a freaking 1600, even. And not only that, this is when freaking Dark Magician Girl says, "Alright, now the few finishing touches." And this is when we go back to where Inko and Bakugo see these two creatures. One's a freaking dinosaur. And this is when Bakugo is trying to fight off this dinosaur thing. And Jinzo's just walking around. Just so slowly, like, he's just walking at a good pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and he's looking around to see where is Izuku, because Jinzo knows about, the new hero. But not only that, he knows that that this is a dark attribute. Now, Deku looks around and he says, Deku says, "Well, what's taking so long?" And this is when, Dark Magician Girl says, hold on, I'm trying to find out other things right now. And she says, "Alright, you have a weird little ability now." And Deku says, "An ability?" And this is when Dark Magician Girl says, "Yeah, you do. It's a weird one, but it's a good one for you. Although, depending on who you have on your side, it might be even better." Then this is when Deku says, "Alright, explain to me." This is when freaking Dark Magician Girl says, "Well, now that you're powerful, or now that you're, even stronger than you were previously, you have the ability to, power up your friends. And if they're powered up, then they can help you out in battle." And Deku says, "So, what do you mean by that?" "Well, let's put it this way. You have a level 4 friend over there, and her power level is a good 2,500. 1,500. And this is when Deku says, "Okay." And she says, "Well, because of your ability to help out people, and the more people you have on your side, the more you guys level up, or the more you guys power up. You see, since it's one person, you gain only a good 1,000 points on her. So she gets, instead of 1,500, 2,500. And on you, instead of 1,600, it'll be 2,600. Now, the thing is that you would have to give up only half of your life points in the very end after the effect is over, which means you're going to have to train again, so you can't just use the ability all willy-nilly. But we made sure to help you out with that as well." And this is when Karibo just comes out and speaks to it, and just does this like "bow" or something like that. I don't know how Karibo talks. I know how Karibo talks, but I do not know how to make the noise. So this is when Deku says, "Oh, hey Karibo," and freaking Dark Magician Girl says, "Alright, now you're gonna have to go back, and I'm sorry for not helping you out." And Deku says, "There's no problem with that, as long as I get to help them." And Deku just starts to come back into the real world, and he sees that there's Bakugo, and there's Inko, and Bakugo is fighting off the dinosaur, but the dinosaurs that are keep coming around out of Jinzo's hand, and basically just keep summoning one after the other. Deku says, "Alright, hopefully everything she said makes sense. Now, This is when Deku just, gets up. And Bakugo and Inko are saying, Deku, you can't get up at the moment. Just sit down, I'll handle this. And Deku says, no, I will not let you do this anymore. And this is when he just starts to shoot up his energy around his head, around his body, and he sees that his body is starting to, is starting to glow a dark purple, turning into a black. And this is when Jinzo says, so you are finally awake. Good. I wanted to kill you while you were awake, so that way you could see how good of a guy I really am. I wouldn't want you to be, sleeping with your, sleeping and dead. And this is when Deku says, who are you, and what is your name? And this is when, basically, the scanner says, identified, Jinzo. And then after that, he also looks at the other dinosaur, identified, Gilasaurus. The main objectives, kill Jinzo and Gilasaurus. And this is when Deku says, well, this is going to be much more harder than I thought. He sees that Gilasaurus is weak, so he could kill it off instantly. But he also sees that Bakugo is in need of help. This is when Deku just starts running and basically grabbing his wooden sword. And he just basically stabs at it. And this is when Deku just says, alright. Okay, so I did that. And this is when Bakugo says, wait, what happened to your arms and your legs? Your arm looks black. And Deku says, well, I don't know what happened. I'm really confused myself. But in the very end, I'm glad that you're okay. Now, Deku decides to just use his abilities again. Well, not his abilities, but whatever tricks that he has on his sleeve. Or on his arm, depending on which one you want to think about worse. This is when Deku just starts running at the other two Gilasaurus. Because Jinzo keeps making them, and it's tiring them out. And that's what he wants. You see, not everything in the world of Yugioh, it's automatically, oh yeah, just basically that's the level of your the level of your monster, but how to defeat your monster as well. You can lash at it and make it keep dying and dying and dying and dying, but you also have to maneuver around the creatures in order to do it. Speed, power, and everything else. It's also relevant. It's all relevant to, the fight. Battle power alone will not help you unless you know how to hit, or at least connect with your opponents. This is when Deku just starts to, use his ability, and his arm starts to glow even more. And insignias show on it, and basically he shoots out something out of his hand, which was a weird little claw that basically stabbed that freaking Jinzo, but Jinzo grabs it, and he pretty much just used up the energy in his hand and says, sorry kid, but you really thought you could defeat me? And this is when he shoots it off. And this is when Inko says, don't hurt my boy. And she says it like this, please don't hurt my child. And she just jumps in front of it and gets decimated. Pretty much now she is knocked out, but she is gravely injured. She just survived that only to be now comatose. And this is when he sees that she's still alive, but that she's comatose. And Deku is no longer happy. Deku says, well, you've done it now. And this is when he grabs something out of his hand, and it seems like it's being given to him. And then he sees a weird shapes and cards, which is this, actually. Hold on here. It's called Sword of the Soul Eater. Basically, you equip this on a level 3, and yeah, I'm going to only use that part of the ability and nothing else about it, because of the whole fact that I'm not going to use tribute summons and tokens and all that stuff, because it's like, how many times are we going to be using tokens and all that stuff to special summon something? Like, this is Yu-Gi-Oh, but this is also solo leveling, so it's kind of like an amalgamation of both without a lot of the weirdness to it. But either way, Deku equips it, and he becomes a little bit more stronger, turning for becoming 1600 to 1900. Now, this is when Deku just says, "Jinzo, you're going to die for what you did to my mother." And this is when he just runs, but he's a little bit more faster. So he's trying to slash at freaking Jinzo, but Jinzo is about to kill him. This is when he dodges it, and after that, basically uses his ability again, shooting out a blast out of his hand. Jinzo, seeing this, basically summons Gilosaurus and gets decimated instead of Jinzo. Deku saying, "How many times are you going to keep summoning that kind of creature?" And this is when Jinzo says, "Well, as long as I need to." Now, he basically says, "Arise, Gilosaurus." And this is when Deku sees that it's a weird creature, but he's looking at it. It's a level 3. It's also Earth. Not only that, it also has a weird ability. Now, Gilosaurus uses that ability, and it calls to one of its dead brethren, and it becomes also, well, a part of the field, from 1 dinosaur to now 2. And now Gilosaurus fighting Bakugo and Deku. Now, this is when Deku and Bakugo start, trying to get out of the hospital so that way they don't damage it as much as they did. But this is when Jinzo pushes a barrier out of the way. Well, puts a barrier in the way. This is when Deku just says, "Screw it," and just charges up his hand and pretty much claws at it, causing the whole freaking barrier to die out. And this is when they're basically running. Jinzo is still following them, but once they make it outside into the track, where pretty much, if you don't know what I mean by that, the track is where usually the elderly or the people that need to exercise their broken leg, or like they have to do something, or like run to lose for cardio and all that stuff. Basically, they're in that kind of track. So Bakugo and Deku are right there, and they're pretty much tired out. Deku is saying, "Bakugo, you don't know what's happening to me, and why I'm basically powerful." And Bakugo says, "This is really weird. I can admit that. But we really need to save your mother and all the other people down up there. They said that they wanted you. Why would they want you of all people? And not only that, why do these people give me the same kind of creeps like they did at the cave?" This is when Deku says, "I'm not going to be able to tell you at this moment, but just rest assured, I will tell you when I'm ready." And she says, "Why don't you just tell me now? Come on now. You have to trust me." And Deku says, "I trust you enough to make sure, that you're alive and safe. Otherwise, I would have just let you die." And this is when she says, "Yeah, okay. But if you do tell me, just make sure that you tell it to me in a way where you don't have to either make me bored or, get me to question what reality this is." And Deku says, "Deal." And this is when these two see 2 Gilosaurs now on them. And Deku uses his sword and basically runs and slashes one of them. And after that, Bakugo is up in the air. The Giliosaurus is trying to at least bite freaking Deku, but this is when pretty much, what's-her-face? She just stabs, or Bakugo stabs the freaking, the other Giliosaurus with a little pocket knife, and pretty much just starts exploding on the freaking, Giliosaurus, causing him to, die. Sorry about that, people. Water. But anyway, this is when Jinzo says, I had enough with you two. You are both going to die, and I will be rid of you. This is when Deku says, oh no you won't. And now he summons his sword. And this is when he starts concentrating on it. And he becomes the sword becomes as black as his arm, causing it to be a weird, like, shape. Since you already know what the sword looks like, it looks like this, but with Deku's copy sword, he could summon another one. And basically it gives him the same effect, causing him to become a whopping 300 on the other side, giving him around, he was 1900, now he is 2100. 9, 10, 11, yeah, 2100. And this is when Deku becomes even more, like, weirder by just running towards Jinzo and trying to basically slash at him. But this is when Jinzo just blocks and dodges it, saying, do you really think you can destroy me? I've had enough with you. The first Dark Hero. You could have actually... sorry about that, people. You could have been one of my generals. Becoming from level 3, and not only that, having that much potential within you, could have been something. But this is when Deku says, it doesn't matter to me what I am becoming. All it matters is that you're dead. All that matters is that you die. Not only that, you basically hurt my mother. I'm not going to forgive you, Jinzo. And he basically is charging and basically trying to slash at him in the air. And this is when Jinzo says, well, it's been fun, but I really have to go. And this is when basically he shoots out an energy blast, the same one that basically hurt him. And this is when Bakugo gets, very scared. And this is when she puts her hands up. And Deku says, wait, what are you doing? This is when she says, this is when Bakugo says, sorry about that. This is when Bakugo says, I'm not going to let you die. You're back, and now you're strong. And for you to get hurt again by this freak, or to get hurt again, and not even from a villain, but from a monster like him, I won't let you die. Or even, lose you again. I'll sacrifice myself if that's the case. And this is when Deku sees that she really does care about him. Sure, over the past, he would probably beg to differ. But now this is not the past. This is the future. And this is Deku's future on the line as well. And hers, and his mother's, and pretty much everybody in that hospital right there. Deku says, I activate my ability. And Bakugo says, ability? And Deku just starts to glow. Even darker, even blacker than black. It's basically like he's gone Super Saiyan, he's gone Goku Black Super Saiyan. But now it's even covered in a smog. Or like a fog itself. Pure black right there. Blacker than coffee. The Last of Us. Yeah, that kind of black. Oh, hopefully that Lesto, watches my video. Now, Deku just starts to jump up in the air. and basically running towards Jinzo, cutting off one of his arms. And this is when he sees that and is about to stab at him, but Jinzo basically shoots out an energy blast. Deku has to dodge it, but it gets hit by the impact of the explosion, or he gets caught in the blast. And this is when Bakugo just runs at him at a higher speed than she realized, and basically starts shooting explosions out. But Jinzo just, with a swipe of his arm, basically cuts through the fire in the explosion, and basically is about to punch her. But Deku just jumps up again, and pretty much just runs at the same speed as he did beforehand, and basically cuts off one of his other arm. And after that, he says, "Maybe you're right. I don't understand why you're doing any of this, but I know one thing's for sure. You don't ever mess with the people I care about." And this is when he stabs him in the freaking head. And Deku basically, he lets go of the sword, and the sword vanishes for now. But Jinzo says, he says, "You may think you have won, but I know one thing's for sure. There's more of us. A dark world, which your power spawned from, and you're using its effect at the very..." Basically, he says, you're using the ability of the darkness, since you have a dark attribute. And the thing about a dark attribute is the fact that they'll still become evil no matter what. Sure, there's some people that already beaten it, but Deku doesn't understand the world of the monsters. He's never been there. And not talking about like the yugioh world, I'm talking about like the world that Jinzo spawned from, where the darkest creatures, the evilest of creatures spawn. But Deku says, either way, you're dead and I'm alive. I'll worry about that later. But for now, go back to where you came from. And Jinzo's dead. Hopefully you like this whole part right here. Sorry about that. Hopefully you like the part. Now let's get back to the story again. Bakugo sees what happened, and this is when she tells Deku, "What did he mean by that?" And Deku says, "Well, I guess now I have to tell you. I died and became reincarnated. I have a weird system in my body, and I was born for greatness and the ability to save the world for this moment. But at the time, I didn't know this. So, I basically fought with creatures high and low in order to protect, you now. For now, this is my thing. So hopefully, you don't have to get upset with me, because even I don't understand any of this. Not only that, I died, but got reincarnated, so, I could see numbers, I could see words, I could see attributes, I could see a lot of things at the moment. I don't know why I could do it, but it was because of the whole fact that I was selected from birth. I was selected to do this as a child. Not only that, the person you beat it up once was the same person who tried to see me, but she kind of screwed up something. But this is when the Dark Magician girl basically, sneezes, and she says, "I feel like I'm being talked about." Just a little bit of that. But, Deku says, "In the very end, I have to now protect you guys. I also have to defeat creatures. This is a part of my life now. Not only that, the reason why you saw my arm and my leg, come back, and they're different. Well, basically my arm is a different shade of color. My leg looks weird." And basically, what she means by weird is, Deku's leg looks a little bit more defined but it also looks like it's changed bone-wise. It looks like it's heavier than Deku's other leg. Looks like it's much more agile. And Deku was like, well, now you can understand. Look, you probably don't understand this either. I don't. I'm barely starting to understand who I am, since now since my reincarnation state, I became a level 3 attribute monster with the ability to, to power up my friends and myself, but at a cost of, my power splitting in two after the whole fight, which means I have to train much more often. So, Bakugo kind of, didn't understand a word he said, even though he said it so blatantly. Like, he didn't, say, I was given power from this system that, traversed through through time and space. None of that stuff. He just said it bluntly. But this is when he realized that the machine was talking to him, and he says, wait a minute here. And Deku sees the thing, and it says, sorry about that, it says, you have a new ability, or new skill, or a card you can use only, you have one item that you can use once every level, or once every fight, or once every quest. There we go, once every quest. This ability, you guys already seen it for the past couple of times, is Mirror Force. Mirror Force is going to be used. And this is when Karibo just comes back out, and he says, oh, you're here again. Really, we had to stop meeting like this. It's every time. You just always pop out when I need you. Every time I need you, you're usually somewhere else. But once everything bad is gone, although I could see due to your abilities and your attack, you're really not in any shape to be riding this fight out. This is when Karibo looks a little sad, but this is when he has something, this is when he has, an idea, and basically, probably an hour later, gets the thing, summons Karibo, and he says, hey, Karibo, I got you this. And it's a little choco bar. Karibo feels a little happier, but while Karibo was gone, Deku was talking to Bakugo, and he says, look, all I just know is right now, I was a 1600, now I'm an 800, but I'm still weaker than you, which means I'm weaker than you now. This is when Bakugo says, okay, so you're saying that you can see numbers, and this is when Deku says, yeah, I can see numbers. This is when Bakugo says, alright, so what am I? And Deku says, oh, wait a minute. You're still a 1500? And Bakugo says, I'm 1500? Well, Deku, at least I'm still stronger than you. And Bakugo says, wait a minute. I'm 1500. Which meant, at the time we were fighting them, you said you lose half of your strength, or at least half of your power, which means if I, do the math correctly, and this is when she's starting to, realize that dark realization that Deku was stronger than her, and she was, she was like, no, I was weaker. And Deku says, well, by technicality, I trained for most of my life. Not only that, I have, the new abilities that I have. And not only that, I am also, a dark attribute, and you're a fire attribute. And she says, okay, still not used to what you're saying, but How did you get so strong? I was, doing my best. And Deku says, yeah, you are doing your best. But it was because of the whole fact that I trained for most of my time and I was given that potential boost. Now that I have that potential boost, now I have to regain it again by training even harder. And this is when Bakugo says, there's no way I'm going to let you win now. And Deku says, I know that, but in the very end, you had to become strong enough to defeat that weird creature. And this is when she says, you did too. But Deku says, yeah, but in the very end, basically, my power level was freaking was 30, hold on here, 21,000. And she says, 21,000? Come on now, how is that fair? And Deku says, well, I was using two abilities that I had, which was my sword, which gives me a power of 300 more, and also another sword that can only be summoned anytime I'm fighting the creatures. Not only that, but what do I say? Oh yeah. The thing is, I also used my ability, which made you a 2,500. And she says, ha! Look at you. You thought you were better than me. And Deku says, yeah, but it gives us both 1,000. And this is when she does the math again. And this is when she has that dark realization. This is kind of like a little trope right there. He was 31,000, and Deku was like, yeah, I was, stronger than what you thought I was. This is when Bakugo says, I'm going to become strong now. I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to train harder. I'm going to beat you. This is when Deku says, yeah, right. Well, hopefully Mom doesn't get mad at me for putting my whole life on the line like she did. This is when they both realized what had happened. The hospital was okay after that, but they put her in a medical bay. And after that, they basically start to help her out. And Deku just ran as fast as he could. And this is when he starts climbing the building. And this is when he sees that, his mom is hurt. His mom was already being treated the moment Jinzo walked outside. So everybody was okay. And you may think, well, why aren't there any heroes? Well, the only heroes that were there were the Wild Wild Pussycats, but they were gone for a while. They were doing some stuff at a city. Cops did come, and the hero reports were given out, but in the very end, Deku realizes that he almost got his mother killed, and Deku is even more upset. This is when he says, Bakugo, I'm going to train with you. And not only that, I'm going to be the best that I could be. There's no way that I'm going to lose any more people. Even if I die, I'm going to have to get us strong enough as a team. Not only that, there's gonna have to be more of us. I know it. And Bakugo says, so how do we do that? And this is when Deku says, well, I'm gonna have to fight the monsters. The more monsters I kill, the more I get stronger. And this is when Deku says, oh yeah, by the way, I get 100 more power on my attack power. And this is when Bakugo says, wait, what? How? How did you get that so easily? And Deku says, well, the thing is, that's my new, power. Or that's my new ability that was given to me. So, 1900 times, 900. So, yeah, I still need a long way to go. And this is when Bakugo says, "So how does one obtain it?" Deku says, "Well, you have to train, but you have to train hard because every year every couple of years we always got powered up. The more older we got, and the more we got older, and our bodies got bigger and all that stuff, and we trained. But that's not always going to be a thing. So I'm going to have to, do more than just train, but get skilled up." But anyway, I'm going to end it off here on another killer finger. But I will do the entrance exam. Now they did the trial exam, which basically got them to go to UA, but that was only as like I forgot what the word was, but that was just a step 1. You have to get to step 2 to 3. And yeah. So hopefully we all get on a good note here today. Gonna just put this on little Karibo right here, Rainbow Karibo, so that way we all have a good night and a good day. But either way, people, hope you all like it. Like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. Oh yeah, I forgot also to mention, if you guys don't believe in yourselves, just know that I didn't believe myself. Like, not a lot of people watch the videos nowadays. Some of you guys do. I'm grateful for that. But just know that I'm always grateful that even if one person watched my video and they liked it, I'm still glad. I'm so glad that you guys at least enjoyed it. I know I've gotten sloppy over the days and over the months that I kept doing this. It's still a tragedy for me. I'm not too proud of myself for being sloppy. So I gotta keep working on my material. But I hope you all liked it. And thank you to all that are watching it. Even if I don't know your name, even if I forgot it, just know that deep down inside I'm still grateful that you liked it. I'm grateful that you watched it and was happy. But yeah. Anyway, enough with the mushy stuff. Like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout with a Fear. Bye.